welcome back to the channel. Sorry we didn't get to all the questions the other day. This is part 2 of them. It's been quite a week. Had a burst pipe in the wall in my kitchen and been struggling with a bit of fluish, so sorry for not getting back sooner, but here we go. Question from Lali. What do we need to change to beat the Wallabies? How can we build mental resilience to not lose faith when we are behind? Has the bomb squad lost its purpose, or should we start playing the number one team to start ahead? Lolly, well, there's a couple of questions involved in that. Where do we start? Okay, how do we beat the Aussies? Well, for one, I think the one thing the Springboks have done, have created enough opportunities this season. They played well. Their defence has been good. Against the All Blacks at Ellis Park, they just came up against a pack that beat them at the breakdown. I think that's going to be the first thing, secure your ball. There's a bit of wind going on here at the background, guys, so apologies for that. Secure your ball first and use the opportunities you create. I think the Boks were pretty good against the All Blacks. They used the opportunities out wide quite well. Defensively, there was a couple of lapses and they were beaten to the breakdown a couple of times. So I think a bit more consistency, a bit more up in the game and making sure there's not so many of those soft moments. I think anybody who watched the Argentina game against Australia will see that Australia were quite weak on the high ball. I think that's going to probably suit the Boks quite well. I think they're going to be looking to use that quite a bit more, especially given that Argentina had so much success with it. So there's obviously be something the Wallabies will be working on a lot. They'll have a couple of changes in personnel. I think the big thing is to overcome our mental challenges over there. We seem to dominate games in Australia but find ways of losing them every single year. So I think that's the big thing for me, is that they can overcome the mental challenge of playing in Australia. They should be able to win. Your second part of your question was about the bomb squad. Yeah, I think we've had a lot of success with the bomb squad. I think we've had much more success than we've had failure with the bomb squad. I think maybe circumstances changed a bit. Sometimes there's a risk, as the Boks have quite readily admitted, but there's a risk worth taking. I think we've seen in the World Cup and the Lions series how the bomb squad's done well. I think when you think of the World Cup coming up, we've got a very tough draw. With those, we're going to play Scotland and Ireland in the pool stages, and then either France or New Zealand in the quarters. So by the time you get into those knockout rounds, you're going to need a lot of freshness, and if we use our bomb squad well, we could probably have our pack being a lot fresher than other packs. So I think there's a lot of good things in it. I think maybe the timing was a bit off. Maybe the hooking, Joseph Dwyer and Malcolm Marx, bringing Malcolm on so early, maybe didn't have quite the impact that it is. So maybe the timing wasn't great. But I think as a concept, there's nothing wrong with the bomb squad. Next question comes from Safa Zimbo 4. Why were the box kicking inside the AB's half? Most times the AB is just marked and turnover. Well, I think there's a difference between the plan and the execution. I think that's what it comes down to. I think a lot of times our kicks weren't maybe spot on. Their blocking run has gone the way quite a few times and wasn't picked up by the referee. And one or two times it was probably just not the right time to kick. So I don't think there's anything wrong. We got a lot of success the week before in the Elspruit, and the All Blacks obviously worked on that. So to be honest, I don't think it's a bad tactic. I think it's when you use it and the way you use it is the thing, and sometimes it's going to be off. So yeah, that's what I would say, is just maybe it was a bit off it once or twice. Next question. Okay, this one's probably been overtaken. When is the Oz squad named? This will be named, obviously. How many? Okay. Any insight on Marco van Staden? Will the Bulls sign him? When does Hendrik Stassen band end? Hendrik Stassen. And when does Apiu Dianti's band end? Okay. First things first, I'm not sure about Stassen. Marco, I know he's back in Pretoria. I'm not sure if he's with the Bulls. I haven't heard anything from them that they're looking to sign him. As far as I know, they're pretty full up in terms of loose forwards at the moment, so I'm not sure they have the place. They've obviously got a cap on their squad numbers, but he's definitely a quality forward. They probably should find a place somewhere. I'm sure somebody will pick him up, so I don't think he'll go unnoticed for too long. I just think he's the type of player that you need to have a spot open, because he's not a guy who likes to sit on the sidelines. You need to play him, and that's the type of guy he is. So To be honest, I'm not sure he's going to end up at the Bulls, although I know he lives in Pretoria and that would be good for him, but maybe there's a spot for him somewhere else. We'll have to wait and see. I'll keep my ear onto the ground. I haven't been around the URC teams much lately, but we'll start getting back into that in the next couple of weeks, and then we'll start hearing what's the situation there. Then you asked about the Piwa Dianti. As far as I know, he is he comes back with his 4-year ban, so that'll be 2023. Probably around about June, July 2023. As far as I know, there's been some rumours that the Sharks are looking at him for then when he comes back. I haven't heard anything else. He's serving his time at the moment, and we have to wait and see. Next question from Christopher. How many of our young bolters, Roos, Moody, Lowe, Orange, etc., will be fully blooded before the World Cup? WRC, I take you mean the World Cup. Well, it's a good question. I'm not sure too many of them will be fully. I don't know if the problem is with the loose forwards, you can only really take 5 or 6 loose forwards with. So if you look at our loose forwards ranks at the moment, and we like to have players that are versatile that can double up like Franco Mostert and Peter Steph de Toy. So when it comes to that, I'm not sure if somebody like Evan Roos, who's been left out of the tour now, is in their frame for the World Cup. Not at the moment. The way I see it at the moment, Evan Roos is number 8. The number 1, number 8 is Dwayne Vermeulen at the moment. Some talk about whether he'll make the World Cup, but I think they're going to definitely push him to try and get to the World Cup. Then their number 2 would be Jasper Wiese, who's had a great season with Leicester and has been good in a Bok jersey. And then their third choice is probably Kwagga Smith, who's been versatile and he can fit into that position. I think after that you're probably looking at Elrich Lowe, but he would be very much a marginal choice in terms of the World Cup anyway. I think right now, this is where we stand right now. And Evan Roos not going to Australia, that tells me, that he is probably a bit further down the pecking order and probably has some work to do before he gets there. I know sometimes we don't see or hear everything that the Boks do, but there may be some aspects of his game he needs to work on, and that's probably why he's been sent back to work on them a bit. I think he's definitely somebody for the future, and definitely somebody for the future of the Springboks. It might just not be for the World Cup right now. Saying that, nothing stops him from kicking the door down. Nothing stops him from making sure he gets into that squad and uses his opportunities. So I think to me you look at the others. I think Jaden Hendricks has got an inside role there now. I think Kurt the Orange has got an outside chance to be fully blooded, depending on how much he does. And of course it depends what happens with Spoon Corsi in the next season, because he's obviously a guy with a lot more experience and the experience counts in the Springbok squad. And then I think if you're looking at, I think Jaden Hendricks has probably got the third scrum of spots sewn up at the moment, and the Herschel Yankees has probably fallen back. Kainan Moody, I don't think he's an option for this coming World Cup. I think he's there to learn, but for the next World Cup he'll definitely be there. That being said, all these players can surprise us, and I wouldn't be surprised if somewhere in the next season there's an injury or two and they get their chance to impress. Next question. Hello Brandon from Lucania. Why don't we play an actual 14, and do you think LaRue and Damien Willemse should start at the same time? It's an interesting thing. I think it's been a trend in world rugby. It's not just South Africa. A lot of teams are doing it. They play 15s at wing just to help with the kicking game and positional play. It helps to have an extra 15 on the field. You see sort of a lot of hybrid wings, 15, 14s going around. I think the thing that you have is that the Boks at the moment, their first choice 14 is Cheslin Colby, and he's injured. Their second choice is Kurt the Arendse, and he's also banned at the moment and injured. So that's the problem. And then they get left with, there isn't another 14 in the squad. Apelele Fassi's been sent home to work on aspects of his game. So now you get either a guy with no test experience, or you've got a 50 test player, Jesse Creel, who's played on the wing, who's good under the high ball, who's good defensively, and fair enough, he came off with a concussion very early in the game, but Jesse's a quality player. So I think it's betting on what you have. And your second part of your question, well, I think we might see Damien Willemse and Villaroo play together quite often. We've seen them in the second halves Villi's come on. And in the Loftus test against Wales, Villi had to come on a lot earlier than expected at half-time. And we've seen cameos of Villi coming into the backline. I think the two of them operating in tandem is works very well. I just think the thing is, where do you put Damien? Is he comfortable fulfilling the 10 role? At the moment we've got Andre Pollard there, and I think the Boks are pretty comfortable with him. So I think Damien probably is a great guy to have the bench, and he's probably working his way in as Villi's successor. He's getting a lot more game time now. He is the first choice, and they're playing Villi off the bench. But yes, at stages in the game, it's looked very good when they've used both of them on the field, and both of them coming behind the pods and directing the play. Should they be both on the field at the same time? Well, I suppose that depends on the opposition, who you're facing, and I think I'll leave it to the Bok Brain Trust to work that one out. I think we've got two very good players, and to me that's not either or, it's how you get the best out of them, and that also depends about who you're playing, I suppose. I think on this video, we'll cut this video a bit short now and take another one. This one coming from Jacques Bessainot. Why do coaches only pick their best teams when their job is on the line? Ian Foster picked his best team this week, and the Springboks their worst team after a win. Jacques, I'm not sure that's always the case. I think there's a lot of pressure on coaches to obviously keep their job. So a lot of coaches do it, watch their own win ratios and watch how they're doing. But at the same time, there's obviously you can't just go with the same team all the time. You have to develop young talent, and it's a difficult balancing act when to bring that young talent through, when to give them enough game time, how to get their test caps up so they get the experience at test level, and how to do that while still maintaining a winning ratio. Because especially in New Zealand, South Africa, you're not allowed to lose as a Springbok coach. I think they know that, and no Springbok coach wants to lose. So I think it's a fine line. I wouldn't like to be the coach. I think sometimes they get it right, sometimes they get it wrong. But I think in all the times they try and do their best, and they obviously look for the results. So to me, it's a fine line. You have to blood that talent. You have to bring new talent through. You can't just stick with the same guys. The majority of your side's going to do well and be the same the entire time. I think most coaches like continuity, we're obviously not talking about injuries. But there are certain players you want to try it against the opposition. You want to give them runs, and sometimes there's other factors that sometimes, and now I'm just talking generally, there's factors inside the team. Coaches will pick up players aren't in the right mental space, or things are happening at home. They're human like all the rest of us. Some things happen in their lives like it happens in all our lives, and you just maybe not able to give your best work performance. Coaches pick that up, and they play other guys, and I'm not suggesting this has happened for any of the Springboks or any of the other teams at the moment, or the All Blacks. I just think at times those factors play in as well, and you try and get the best team that's going to be in the right mindset on the field. So I think that has a lot to do with it as well. Okay, I'm going to leave this video here for now and just say thanks guys for watching. I'll be back with part 3 soon. And I'll put it up soon. If I haven't got to your question, I'll get to it in part 3. And thanks for watching, and let me know what you think. Subscribe to the channel because there'll be more rugby videos.